NetSparker, the developers of desktop and cloud-based web application security scanners that enable you to automatically identify vulnerabilities in your web applications and web services. NetSparker scanners employ a unique and dead-accurate vulnerability scanning engine that automatically verifies vulnerabilities with their proof of concept. For more information, visit them on the web at netsparker.com or email at contact@netsparker.com. LogRhythm's Netmon Freemium delivers real-time network visibility to quickly identify emerging threats in your IT environment. Netmon Freemium is a free commercial-grade network forensics and traffic analytics solution. You can use Netmon Freemium's powerful capabilities to search against all observed network traffic, identify abnormal traffic patterns and application usage, and quickly analyze full packet captures. Take the first step towards real-time network visibility. Visit logRhythm.com/freemium to learn more and download it today. Welcome back, everyone, to Paul Security Weekly. This is the security news. Did we mention IT Pro TV?
I think we did.
We did have an ad about them.
We did?
Yeah.
Did we mention them?
Okay. There was an ad.
We did? Okay.
There was an ad, but...
itpro.tv/security weekly. We use them. You should, too.
Yeah, because I remember the binge-worthy thing.
Yes.
But
binge-worthy learning. Hack West 1.0, the Wild Bunch, will be held in Salt Lake City March 21st through the 23rd. You can go to hackwest.org to register. The 25% off discount code for you, Security Weekly listeners, is SWHW2018. Awesome, awesome conference. We interviewed, who's keynoting that? We interviewed the woman who I think who was keynoting that.
It was recent, wasn't it?
And it was recent, and now I can't remember. But anyway, I'm sure they have it on hackwest.org. Check out ServiceNow's hot seat on symphonies and robots. SecurityWeekly.com/ServiceNow. And Source Boston's coming up May 9th through the 10th, sourceboston.com. Use the $100 off discount code SW89AEE2. That's kind of an interesting, randomly generated discount code.
Quite a mouthful.
SW89AEE2. Was it Mary Beth that's keynoting Hack West?
I don't see who's... Yeah. In any case, do you remember?
Maybe it wasn't Hack West. Maybe I'm just really confused.
In any case, do you remember the discount code?
I'm really confused.
The discount code many years ago that a certain training organization that one or more of us may be affiliated with wanted to offer a 15% discount code for their pen test curriculum.
No.
So the discount code was PEN15.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. What am I missing?
No, wait, I just got it.
The discount code was PEN15. Write it down. It spells penis.
Obviously, Paul and
I are
a little slow tonight.
We don't know how to pronounce OSINT. We don't know how to...
OSINT.
We can't recognize penis.
You know what? I'll send you a mem. I'll send you a mem on it.
A mem?
A mem.
Yeah, it's a meme. You used to call it a mem.
It's a meme. It's a mem.
But you know that the really great hacking tool I just discovered?
Oh, God. Come on.
He's trying to hurt us.
Oh.
Carlos, save the show, please.
Yes, somebody's got to do it. He's got nothing. He's got nothing.
He cannot be saved.
Well, it's good to have you back, Carlos. Certainly.
Yeah, we missed you, man.
Yeah, you were in our thoughts and prayers during the after the hurricane. It took you a really long time to get power back too. What was that like?
Yeah, hell.
I know what it was like. He was in Florida.
Yeah, in fact, a month after having no power, Tenable relocated me to Florida, and then in January I decided to come back. And I came back still to a messed up island in every way, shape, form. Amazon decided to screw us now because most of the local businesses are closed. So Amazon decided like, hey, we should charge more now for shipping for Puerto Rico now that they're
rat
a lot more.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's not negotiate anymore with UPS and make everything go USPS. So now anything I order from Amazon takes like 2, 3, 4 weeks to get here. It's crime has gone up. I almost got carjacked 2 weeks ago.
Yikes.
not for long, though.
I feel bad for the carjacker, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Did
they know who they were dealing with?
Yeah. I almost had to shoot 3 kids.
Wow.
So thankfully they decided to back down once they saw it wasn't an easy target.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I feel bad for whoever tries to carjack Carlos.
Yeah, they probably had to go home and change their drawers.
Yeah.
I know that they came in 2 motorcycles. They parked right behind each corner of my bumper during the line for McDonald's, and I found it weird that one of the kids simply stood up on the bike, started looking if somebody was looking at them or if was somebody around, and then he adjusted a gun in his waistband under his t-shirt, and I was going like, well, he's 16, 17. He could not have a carry permit. He's looking around. There's a pre-attack queue. So I simply drew my Glock, put it in my chest like this, clipped my my seatbelt, took it off, and simply put a 1 foot door and 1 hand on the handle, and start just giving him the evil look through the mirrors. Yeah. Same for his partner, same for him, same for his partner. Started going like this to make sure that he saw that I was looking at him. But he couldn't see my gun because I had it in my chest and I was covering it. But I was ready just to, if I had to put rounds, if he would have pulled that gun, I would have gone first. He who shoots first
wins, right?
The best chance. So yeah, thankfully he looked at my face through the mirrors and kind of
backed off
twice.
Yeah, we'll go on to the next person.
He called his buddy, told him something in his ear, and they both backed out.
Good Lord. Well, I hope I mean, is the situation improving out there? I mean, other than carjacking attempts, but
slowly. Slowly. Yeah, I feel bad that I'm leaving my wife now 2 weeks here alone. Now I have a pink nerve in my back, so I'm not going to carry the regular Glock 19. I had to actually buy a M&P shield, and that's what I'm carrying. Like shit, 8 rounds.
Had to buy, right?
Had to buy.
Had to buy.
That's always how it goes. Yeah, toys like that.
I cannot have anything in my. In fact, I cannot wear a belt. If I put a belt on and it's a bit tight around my waist, my entire left leg goes numb. So I needed something very light that I can just clip inside the waistband and just readjust with loose pants.
Wow.
Let's see.
So
news.
Speaking of saving the show, Carlos.
Yeah.
Paul, you had a couple interesting articles about hacking in the Olympics.
Yeah, that was a huge news. I mean, I don't know what the attack specifically looked like.
Yeah.
Lots of speculation on who performed the attack, but I couldn't go anywhere and try to read news without stumbling across a story about how the Olympics were hacked.
Yep, and yeah, they did. The IOC did confirm that there was a successful hack of some variety that happened during the opening ceremonies, and they expect another one to be successful of some variety during the closing ceremonies.
Well, interesting how they kind of gave up on that. Like, yeah, there's going to be another successul hack. It's all good.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's going to be some successful in some variety. They didn't say how far they would penetrate, however, which was interesting.
Yeah, they're also in Bridge. What I like is that almost all of the techniques were in the MITRE attack table.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Talked about that today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yep. The other one that I found that was kind of interesting based on some of the other things that I saw this week is that they didn't disclose the nation state or whoever they thought it was that had conducted the attack. And again, attribution is also kind of hard, but they didn't disclose that because they didn't want to seem political. And that's their thing, is that the Olympics is a non-political event. In fact, any sort of political demonstration is strictly frowned upon. And I don't know if you saw yesterday, trolling level 1000. A gentleman had legitimate tickets, you name it, everything, to attend the North Korea versus the combined Korea hockey team versus China hockey game, and he showed up to go to his seat, and he happened to walk in front of the North Korean cheerleading section. They have their own cheerleading section that's very controlled with security and everything.
Is this a joke?
No, it's not a joke.
And it feels like it's building.
It feels like it felt like there was a punchline coming.
He walks up and he gets to the front of them and waves his combined Korea flag and dances a little bit and says, "Hey, enjoy the game," while he happens to be a Kim Jong-il impersonator. And I say impersonator in that's just what he looks like. And he cut his hair and he kind of looks like Kim Jong-il. And the North Korean cheerleading squad was horrified, and the North Korean security detail was like all up in his business and trying to get him out of there, and you name it. The Olympic police took him, put him in a back room, and it was basically for his safety.
Wow.
And it wasn't that he was being detained; he was perfectly let free to go, because they say no political type of commentary, and because this is a political free zone type of thing. And he's like, I'm not making a political statement. I walked up. I'm in support of them in that I had the flag and I said, enjoy the game. And if you have an issue with my face,
can't help you there.
I can't help you there. So they're very anti-politic.
I think all of this Olympic hacking stuff was kind of funny. Everybody was going like, no, it's the Chinese. No, it's the North Koreans. No, it's the Russians. And everybody was blaming somebody else. And the way I see it is that nowadays, if you don't have a camera and you're recording that guy doing it like Dutch did it, it's hard to pin attribution. We've seen it in documents from CIA, NSA. We've seen actors in other countries actually do it. They repurpose malware. They'll repurpose techniques. And attribution is just hard. People reuse other people's code. People reuse other people's implants, command and control structures. It's just way too hard nowadays.
Yep, and we just happen to own a couple of boxes in countries all over the world, right? That was the joke. They're like, you don't hack from your own system, you hack from a system that you own somewhere on the planet. And by own, you replace that with a P. You pwn somewhere on the planet.
Yeah. Right.
So,
do you guys read books?
I read books.
Yeah,
as well as my wife and 2 kids would say, Daddy, you don't read books, you listen to them.
I listen.
Which scientists have proven.
I do the same.
Scientists have proven that is just as stimulating for your mind as reading them.
So George Hulme made a blog post, I should say, 5 security books you should read if you haven't.
I like his first one.
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
It's pretty good.
The Phoenix Project is on there. That's definitely a must.
I like that
That's
one.
a must.
The Hacker Playbook: Practical Guide to Penetration Testing.
I'm on the fence about that one.
My question would be which version, because things change there so quickly.
The Cuckoo's Egg, of course.
Yeah, hands down.
I love the Cuckoo's Egg.
Great.
That was one of the books I read in the 90s that got me hooked.
Me too.
Completely on hacking and security.
Social Engineering: The Art of Human Hacking. Now, I haven't read that book.
Neither have I.
Who's the author's?
Some guy he does. I think he does the
I always forget his name.
CTF thing at like all conferences about social engineering.
Something like that. I always forget his name.
What's his name?
I don't know. Is it Chris Nickerson?
No.
Isn't he Dave Kennedy's boyfriend?
Dave Kennedy's boyfriend? What?
Is it?
Wow.
Dave Kennedy has a boyfriend?
There's a lot of claims to that title, I think.
I mean, yeah. Paul, I hate to say
I'll throw my hat in the ring for that one, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Paul,
I saw that.
I think you may not have been the only person to jump on the bed naked with Dave Asadorian.
Yes, because if we were to marry, he would take my name.
Yeah, little slip of the tongue there if you catch my manner of speaking.
Slip of whose tongue?
Wow, that went some interesting. I did not anticipate going in that direction.
That went sort of like.
I started it, of all people.
Yeah, that's right. It was it's all Carlos's fault. So yeah, I'm not so sure about that one.
I can't remember his name.
Haggity?
Chris Haggity?
No, Hadnaggity?
Something.
Is that how you pronounce OSINT?
Yes. Yes.
Defensive Security Handbook: Best Practices for Securing Infrastructure.
I have no idea.
I haven't heard
whose
that
book
one.
this is.
Haven't heard that one. But then again, I might argue which version.
Hold on. Carlos read it.
It's decent. It's a good base. I wouldn't say it is earth-shattering or it's complete, but it is a good start.
Yeah. So look, I'm only on board with 2 of these books. Two or 5.
So that said, let's go through that list again one more time. We said the Phoenix Project was great. The Hacker Playbook book, Practical Guide to Pen Testing. What would be a replacement? If that wasn't it, what would cover the similar topics that would be better?
I have to pull up my Kindle library for that, dude.
I'm just, what's the problem we're trying to solve?
My book recommendation today, from a technical perspective, in an earlier recording an on-demand webcast, was TCP/IP Illustrated Volume 1.
Nice,
Richard Stevens.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's not an advanced. Like, if you're advanced in security, you should have already read that book, in my opinion. But we were talking about people getting into the field and learning. That was certainly one where.
Yep. Two that, Carlos, I think you'll have to help me out with at least one of them. Just from the fascinating story perspective, was Countdown to Zero Day.
Yes, I was just finding that.
Yep. And then what was the other one? Was the Red Team handbook that was done by former Red Team operators for the military?
Oh, yeah. I love that one.
Yeah. What is that one?
Awesome.
I'd have to dig it out.
It's called Red Teams. Yeah.
There's also one, Dark Territory: The Secret History of Cyber War.
Yes, that one was also great.
And also Ghost Fleet: A Novel of the Next World War.
We're just gonna have to create a book club.
Oh yes,
so we need a book club. We need a book club. It's called Big Nerdy Geeks Book Club.com.
And I had a bunch of another one that I have to remember the title that was recommended to me by some three-letter government agency folks. Because I read a lot of what Josh Wright would refer to as PA fiction, post-apocalyptic, and this was definitely a post-apocalyptic sort of technology-involved type of novel, and it was really good. So,
yeah, my list sort of spans fiction, non-fiction in the same vein.
Yes,
and has gotten rather long these days. But I do like that Secret History Cyber War kind of book. That's very good. But,
I have to check that one out. I haven't read that one. I do know that the Red Teams one from Senko. I forgot his name. Michael Senko.
Michael Senko, yes.
Yeah, that one's really good. And the Phoenix Project, I kept having so many flashbacks while reading that one, like, oh shit, I've been in that situation, or going like, oh no, I know who Mike Grant is. I know who that one is. I know who this person is in my life.
And everyone I've talked to that's read that book says the same thing too.
I was about to say, I'm going to make a grand claim here, and I would say, if you are in the IT industry and are considering making a pivot to information security, the Phoenix Project's probably one of the best books you'll read as a backdrop into that transition. Does anybody disagree with that?
I would say that is definitely a really good one. It was there was the seminal book on lean delivery that we all used to read as part of like the whole management becoming management.
I stayed away from that. I don't know about you.
And that was the one that it's DevOps for that genre, as it were. So taking that that lean delivery method and turning it into DevOps.
This edition of Book Club Security Weekly is brought to you by Audible. Find all of your favorite books online in audio format.
We receive no remuneration yet.
Listen to that. We've birthed so many things in this one evening. And there's yet another one.
It's been a very creative, innovative show.
It has. It absolutely has.
Some of which was shared off air, some of which is on air. But, we're working on that. I do want to talk about ad blocking, as Google has released a new blog post detailing how it plans on dealing with ads. And apparently it's going to pull from a list, and there's a process which I'm still digesting. But the Coalition for Better Ads has surveyed 40,000 internet users and identified the most disliked ads on that list for desktops. The one that I really can relate to is auto-playing videos with sound.
Oh, good God.
Oh, God. Can you make those go away, Google, please?
Seriously. Yeah.
Please? That would be
Yes,
fantastic.
I agree.
So that's actually
on one side, I feel bad for people that actually make money putting ads, but come on, you can have finesse, you can have taste.
It's true.
When you do ads.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, I think. It's a non-trivial endeavor because the ad technology world is broken up into content providers, content deliverers. So it's a non-trivial thing to do.
One that you'll notice.
To interject real quick.
Well, I'm sure you'll recognize this one, Larry. Postisticial ads that require a countdown to dismiss.
Oh, God. So many movies.
So...
I mean,
what websites typically carry these ads?
YouTube.
Larry? I'm not familiar.
YouTube.
Pornhub? Is that what you were saying?
YouTube. YouTube. The mobile app on Pornhub doesn't. I mean,
yeah, they actually break down mobile versus desktop. Pop-up ads are at the top of the list. I'm not sure those are in order. Full screen rollover ads. Mobile pages with more than 30% ad density.
Fuck.
So popular.
Pardon my French for those.
So heinous.
Yes.
Why on mobile do they just have to fill the entire...
My favorite that, admittedly, best reading room in the house. The bathroom while you're,
of course,
pinching a loaf, right? And we have a pile of magazines.
Didn't really need to be that descriptive, Larry.
Yeah. Okay. It's all right. You're taking a leak, but it's hard to read when
this is a family show.
But you have a stack of magazines, but what ends up going into the bathroom with your phone, and like you throw Facebook on, and like, oh, you never believe what happened next. Yeah, I hate to say it, but sometimes I'm a sucker for those. Like, imagine what your childhood hot stars look like now.
Yeah, and you just got to know. It's
ads.
Clickbait. You got to know.
All ads.
And it's the whole, 90% of whatever you're reading is ads.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's your burner iPad or whatever. You know, you're just gonna go for it.
It's the Amazon Fire that's gonna get done once a month type of thing. Yeah.
So apparently, if you want to mine Bitcoin, you should do so in Iceland.
Why?
Cheap energy.
I also think, and I kind of made this joke on a show earlier this week, that it was because it's so cold there.
Yeah, you don't have to do any active cooling.
But actually, I think it was Google that created a data center somewhere where in Northern Europe or whatever, where it was cold, and then someone else said that, or the same person said that they can pull in the cool seawater to cool the computers.
Yep.
So there actually is some legitimacy.
It's water cooling.
Yeah.
Just on a grand scale, on a global scale, right?
So that was pretty interesting.
Yep.
Or not. So
moving on.
Moving on.
Right. It's amazing that you think about where you can put computing. But there was an interesting component to that story, Paul, that I think that was interesting, is that the folks have determined that energy generation in Iceland, if I remember correctly, was fairly inexpensive, and you didn't have to do any active cooling, to the point that crypto mining energy usage in Iceland actually exceeded the entire country's use for personal use.
Yeah. So that is, from an environmental perspective, disturbing.
Mm-hmm. My thing is that I think at this point the math to energy ratio for mining Bitcoin, and I'm a noob at this, is probably pretty poor at this point, as in not good, as in you should probably consider mining other easier to mine, less power intensive
this is
cryptocurrencies and then trade them for Bitcoin.
This is when I wish that we had G. Mark Hardy here, who could pontificate.
I hear another Security Weekly show host has their own cryptocurrency podcast.
They do.
I heard that as well.
They do indeed.
I haven't listened yet.
Yeah, me either. But I heard about it.
But I think that the sooner that the algorithms move away from proof of work into, and I've forgotten what the next proof of is right now, so G-Mark is probably, if he's watching this, freaking out.
Venezuela has, quote, proof of oil.
Yeah, proof of something. right?
They have a they're working on a Petro, which is a cryptocurrency based on the oil standard. So proof of oil as opposed to proof of work. It's just kind of...
Proof of work is very energy intensive.
Yes. Moving along.
Moving along to, it's interesting. So I added on one of my newsreaders a category for marijuana for news articles because it is just absolutely fascinating. Some of the more interesting and entertaining articles I've read come from that category. I think it was a couple of weeks. Maybe it wasn't even on this show. I talked about USPS workers that were stealing marijuana from packages.
Huh.
And the guy was arrested, and they raided his house. And guess how much marijuana he had in his house?
0.
60 pounds.
60 pounds.
60 pounds of marijuana.
Wow.
Apparently, a lot of people mail marijuana to themselves. It's just one person going through packages, or conceivably one person.
How did he know?
His nickname was like the Sniffer or something like that. Apparently, I shit you not.
He was not employing good OSINT.
Yes.
Or OSINT.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the other one was, this article right here, actually, which relates to computer security, as in Washington State, where it is recreational legal,
yes,
access to leaf data systems was compromised. It is not what you think. At first, you think it was PII, like people who are registered to either sell or grow in the state. Wasn't their personal information. They specifically, what I think, I'm just conjecture, but specifically targeted from what I've been able to glean from the article, the part of the database that was tracking shipments. Yeah. So I guess all shipments must have to be registered with the state. That database was popped, and so the attackers had a map of where all the shipments were going to be at any given date and time.
Now think about that. At those shipments at any given date and time in the state of Washington, you think about that in that there's some serious financial implications for that.
They said there was a shortage of marijuana. In Washington State.
Not even that.
It was hit with a pot shortage after the leak data system went down, because the system actually went down, which prevented people from doing business in shipping. Right.
Now, the other one is that if there, and I'm thinking about this logistically, if you're shipping, you want to get paid on receipt, because you can't do a bank transfer for that, because that becomes a federal system.
It's just
that's why it's all cash.
States are trying to start up their own banks to support.
Right. Yeah. So and that becomes a logistical. Not only do you get to steal the pot, you get to steal the payment.
Right.
Which could potentially be millions of dollars in cash.
Yes, in fact, that's a problem in states like Colorado,
and Washington.
Because it's all a cash business.
Yep.
Very opportunistic theft and robbery occurs.
Right.
And to bring one of those, the first story you had about the USPS employee and some of the things that Carlos mentioned earlier, we got some Amazon Prime deliveries on Saturday, this past Saturday, and it was nice out here on Saturday, and I was out cleaning out my truck because I was buying a new one. So I was cleaning all the crap out of it, and the postal service employee drove down the driveway with her cute little mail truck and hopped out, and we went and met her for the packages and stuff. And I said, "Oh yeah, Amazon Prime, it's evil." And she's like, "If it wasn't for Amazon Prime, I'd probably be out of a job."
Yep.
And I look in the back of the mail truck.
All Amazon.
Every package had the Amazon Prime tape on it.
Wow.
Every package in the back of the mail truck.
Was it a Sunday?
On a Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of business.
And they've lost my freaking shoes.
They lost your shoes?
Oh,
I went to
horror.
I went to Seattle a couple weeks back. You remember I wasn't here? I was staying with a good friend, Mr. Michael Poor, and I left my really good dress shoes with them by accident. And I said, I left my shoes under the bed. Wait, that doesn't sound right. So they
what else did you leave under the bed?
This was Mike's bed?
Yeah. They shipped them to me. And
so did you hear Mike on the other end of the phone like, "Oh yeah, I got them, Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to send them back? Oh.
Wait.
I gotta get another couple of sniffs.
But he sent me a tracking number, and they literally they sent them like next day or second day, and then it went from Washington to Providence in like 2 days.
And then out for delivery.
Well, but transfer between Providence and the local place, and then local place to us, it's now been 7 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you haven't gotten your shoes?
Nope, haven't gotten my shoes.
Because I was going to ask you what else Mike put in there.
That's what I asked him.
You know there is not just shoes in that package.
That's what I asked Mike, and he says, "Sorry, man, it was just the shoes."
No way. He is totally lying to you.
No, he's not.
Because next year when you get that package.
Next year, right.
In fact,
there's totally going to be like a dildo or something in there.
In fact, I still have...
Because if I was sending you your shoes, dude, there would be something ridiculous in that package.
In fact, I still have the page open for the tracking info. Tracking history. Last note. In transit to destination. January 22nd.
Oh my.
Yep. So, yeah, here's the deal. January 22nd in greater Seattle area, on January 16th, all the way into Seattle. On the 17th, in transit to destination to my home on the 17th. From the 17th,
almost a month. That's a month, dude.
The 17th, on its way to the destination, arrived at the regional distribution facility. Yeah, it
says the same thing over and
basically over. Out for delivery, out for delivery, out for delivery, and the last out for delivery was January 22nd.
Oh my.
Yeah.
I think your flashlight's on. Larry.
Someone stole your shoes.
Yeah. How about that?
They delivered to your house and someone stole your shoes.
You know what? It's fine.
Larry needs a new pair of shoes.
They weren't. I got a new pair of shoes.
I mean, how badly do you want these shoes? I mean,
the sad part is they were like going on site with a client good shoes, and I had to go on site with a client last week. I had to buy new shoes.
I was going to say we need to start a Patreon for Larry's new shoes now.
Yeah, go fund Larry's shoes.
Go fund me.
Actually, if we're going to do that, we should get Kevin Johnson a pair of shoes that some lady in the airplane peed on.
Somebody peed on his shoe.
Oh, don't. Now we're just derailing into stories.
Okay, next story.
Next story. Did the NSA really use Twitter to send coded messages to Russians?
This is the one I saw.
I wanted Jeff Mann on the show to talk about this, but he's watching his grandkids, so.
Oh my God!
You can't fault him for that.
Nope, you can't. And when I saw this one, I'm like, no. And then I read this article, and I'm like, huh, interesting. So
supposedly they paid initially for it.
Yeah. So this was the shadow broker stuff that NSA wanted to know really what was in the leak, and the way the article is going was that it wasn't so much that it was a secret communique, like they were giving away secret classified data via this. It was basically to prove that, hey, you put this thing on social media, like that you can say you really did. Like, put this thing about the Telegraph on the NSA's secret social media thing, and we'll believe you really.
So they were addressing the non-repudiation issue.
Yeah, right. Yeah, prove to me you are who you say you are.
Right. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yep. And the two tweets were pretty cool because they were Samuel Morse patented the telegraph 177 years ago. Did you know you can still send telegrams faster than post and pay only if it's delivered? And then the same theme was the first telegraph communications exchange occurred between Queen Victoria and President Buchanan in 1858.
Jumping air gaps is...
You mean jumping high latency networks?
High latency networks.
But they're intending to make it non-high latency.
And here's the thing that gets me about. I mean, they're just so like Hollywood far-fetched. And you guys correct me if you feel differently. But I feel like we've covered a number of these stories about all these interesting means of essentially jumping the air gap if it is truly air gapped.
Right.
And what they're saying is there's all this like scientific research that says, and this one's interesting. Noise the internal fan generates by changing air temperatures in patterns that the receiving computer can detect with thermal sensors, or blinking out a stream of information from a hard drive LED to the camera on a quadcopter drone.
Yeah, this is the old. This is the old stuff.
That's the old stuff.
That's the old stuff. But a group from Ben Gurion in Israel found a way that they can inject magnetic pulses into a device that is contained within a Faraday cage and observe the responses in which it generates additional magnetic output to receive contents of memory.
Because the magnetic waves can go through because it's not a radio wave?
Math?
Yeah, too much math.
Yeah.
But conceivably, if you think about the energy between two magnets, right, is different from the energy or transmission that a radio would transmit.
Exactly.
Faraday cage is designed for radio communication. Sounds like they've transitioned onto magnetic communications.
Doesn't ultimately all boil down to if you can modulate a signal somehow,
right?
Whether it's sound, whether it's thermal, radio, magnetic, radio,
light,
infrared, you can transmit data, right?
Correct.
That's really what we're getting down to. If you can modulate something for ones and zeros, then you can write a receiver for that.
Right. So the intent was specialized malware called Houdini that regulates the device's magnetic fields. From there, malware can overload the CPU with calculation, forcing its magnetic fields to increase. A local smartphone can then receive the covert signals emanating from the magnetic waves to decode encryption keys, credential tokens, passwords, and other sensitive information. I did not read the in parentheses.
So this means
a local smartphone can then receive the covert signals.
Is this a hoax like those processor vulnerabilities?
No.
Come on.
And a local smartphone is one that is located a maximum of 12 to 15 centimeters from the computer located within the Faraday cage.
And
there's the rub.
There is the rub.
Yeah. So
that's the thing. All of this is just hokey.
Very esoteric.
Let me get some attention type of research. Like it's not practical.
It is not practical, but Carlos, I would argue that from many things that become impractical, become practical. Think about the things that that Star Trek in its initial things did.
Yeah, but we still don't have a transporter.
Larry, I'm sitting in the red chair, man. Don't say that.
Think about the things that Star Trek did.
I don't have a red shirt on
with
today,
the personal communicator, and Dick Tracy with the communicator watch, and those things for many years were deemed impossible.
Yeah, but in this case, we're talking specific techniques.
Well, we were
on those. There were concepts. Mm-hmm. So the concept of jumping an air gap, yes, it has happened. I have my friend work at a gaming company, and somebody was able to jump the air gap via Bluetooth. Put the malware on a USB stick. The USB stick got into the air gap area. They plugged it in and enabled Bluetooth, and then it did the breach via Bluetooth, and they were able to mine or generate a bunch of gold in certain game accounts. But cool, you can jump those. There's Tempest. We have shown that, where people are able to look at the screens of other people.
You can do Tempest with a cheap $20 SDR now.
Yeah.
From 10 to 12 centimeters.
And where do you find Tempest?
But when we start looking at this malware stuff, like I'm going to modulate the temperature and I'm going to modulate the magnetic field, I don't know. I for me, it is just a bit far-stretched.
I agree. I think we really need the cone of silence. Is what we need.
But
from Get Smart.
I agree.
He talked on his shoe, which I always thought wasn't very sanitary. But
right.
So this means that
God forbid you step in dog poop.
In my office at home now, I'm going to build like 2 Faraday cages and wrap them in tin foil, and
Wi-Fi reflecting paint.
And Wi-Fi reflecting
paint. And magnets. If you covered it with magnets, would that interrupt the magnetic field?
Maybe.
Would it? Does it depend on which way the magnet was facing, whether it was negative or positive?
Just both.
Yeah.
You just alternate it to disrupt the field?
Yeah, rotate it.
Is it math?
Physics.
Modulate stuff.
Math. Remember that image we got many times years ago? Math is hard. With us dressed as Kung Fu warriors. You were a woman.
So
I still have that somewhere.
Is this show over yet?
No, hardly.
Carlos, you want to talk about Microsoft at all? Some interesting news items. They've backported some of the security features of Windows 10 into Windows 7 and 8.1 and touted it as a way, get this, to allow people to experience the new security features so that they're so impressed with them that they want to then move to Windows 10.
Huh?
I am dead serious.
I have to applaud the security teams at Microsoft. They're doing great work. They're more responsive. They're moving faster. They're putting new features, new controls, new stuff out there, and they're moving pretty quickly. The Windows product management team needs to be flogged about automatically installing applications. Oh, let's have 10 different SKUs and let's put these features here and over here. And that's product management. That doesn't have to do with the technical guys. The technical guys are doing a lot of great stuff. But in terms of the patches, that's one of the stories about the Outlook one. That one's juicy. Being able to get remote code execution from a preview in Outlook that's a wet dream for many pen testers or.
I think I just wet myself a little bit.
That's awesome. It's a good thing it's you're in the vinyl covered chair and not the cloth ones.
The red vinyl covered chair.
That one's important. And one of the updates that I really liked was there's this BB script that Enigmax Matt Nelson, I think, found, which has been abused by many people. It is PB run PMP printer. Crap! I'm forgetting now the name of the BB script, but it's one of the BB scripts that comes with Windows that you were able to load other components, specifically scriptlets, and that BB script was signed, and it was Microsoft addressed that issue. I've seen that being used in macros a lot. I've seen it used where people actually ship their own version of the script, and I'm happy that Microsoft closed that one. And that is Microsoft, again, listening to researchers, giving credit. They're very out there. But when it comes to Windows 10 and that idea of let's not troubleshoot so well or QA our packages before shipping them, I still have my gripes. Right now I'm using Windows 10, not using my Mac.
Oh, so it's very important to QA your package.
I hear you QA it every day, Jeff.
It's called your daily job.
You gotta check it.
Gotta check it.
And like Carlos, he was just trying to clean it and it went off.
Oh.
Carlos,
I know, that's probably later.
Carlos, there was also a Twitter feed where it was, I want to say it's a Matt something that discovered a vulnerability in Windows and then got into that interesting conversation with a security vendor that will remain nameless.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay, what happened was that Matt Nelson
sit back, everybody.
Found a way. For example, if you have SCCM, you can make the faux pas, the error that you're going to go, okay, I'm going to push the SCCM client to all of my machines. And what's the best way of doing it? And the lazy way of doing it is let me use the domain admin account. So you create a domain admin account that pushes the client to all of your machines. What happens when there's a new version that you need to upgrade a new version? SCCM will log into that machine with the domain admin and will install the new version.
That's the easy way to do it, right?
So, yeah. So what he found a way was to actually tell SCCM, hey, I need a new package. I'm out of date, or I don't have it installed. And you trick SCCM to log in into the box and then try to install the package. And you just capture that NTLM v2 handshake the way it is being done. It's not too secure. It's not using Kerberos. It's using NTLM v2, so you can capture the hash, crack the hash, replay the hash, or do other stuff with it. So he posted that, and this company came out and said, hey, SCCM is crap. Use our product. Our product's better.
Ooh.
And Matt Graber, being a good buddy, a good friend, a good coworker, went like, no, this is. He kind of called them out.
Oh, that was that shitstorm.
That was that shitstorm.
Oh.
So Matt called them out. They got kind of sassy with him, and I have to say, Matt has been learning to be a very good troll. So he knows how to push
a subtle troll.
Oh yeah, he used to be very shy. Not anymore. I think the guys at Spectre Ops really got trained him very well. So he started pushing the right buttons on the PR person of this company, and they got angry and they called him a wannabe security professional. And they took it way too far.
Got nasty.
And everybody kind of jumped on top of that security vendor like, this is not how you do it. And here comes the CEO of the company, says, oh, thank you for all of the free press.
They actually said that.
Dude, that's not the kind of press you want.
They actually put a hashtag like, this is how you do marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
And I think that's one reason why it came across my desk. And then when I reviewed it, I was like, wow, that's like a huge setback.
Hashtag actually no.
Yeah, like it's a huge
fail.
setback in the trust that any trust that you would try and build with the security vendor community. You'd look at that and go, well, see, that's why I don't trust. So I feel like it was kind of a setback and very unfortunate. I do think that Matt and others certainly, I don't think there were anything inappropriate in that thread from the security community, and Matt certainly was stellar in that communication and maintained certainly his integrity.
And I think that, and I don't remember the vendor, and it started with a C, I think. But
let's not mention them. Let's not give them any more.
I honestly don't remember who it was, but the vendor came back and said, "Yeah, we're kind of sorry."
Yeah, it wasn't a very sincere apology either.
One of those sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. This is how you do marketing.
Yeah, I still think they kind of looked at it as a positive thing for them and really didn't offer a sincere apology, which is really unfortunate.
Clearly, they don't know who Matt is.
Clearly.
No, and it was a complete mess the way it was. And Matt loved it. He loved the how they got off the rails, and then at the end he was cringing. Like everybody started piling on the company, and he was cringing about that. But also the way I see it is, this is the best way for you to get a lot of free QA on your app.
Yeah.
Right. If you start going out there and poking the bear, he's gonna lash out at you. Remember when Oracle says we're unhackable?
Yeah.
How that ended up for them?
I hope they have a bug bounty program and it's well funded, and they've talked to Katie Masuris.
Probably not.
Yeah. If not, they should.
My guess.
Yeah, all three fronts.
Yep. That was unfortunate. Any other stories?
Speaking of fronts,
and your point is?
Wait, no, not that. Speaking of fronts, one of them was the you had a motherboard article in there for how low-level Apple employees leaked some of the iPhone's most sensitive code about the leak of the iBoot source code, and I thought this was great in that it got leaked. From my perspective, what I thought was great about this was that it got leaked. It got posted to GitHub. Apple sent GitHub DMCA takedown notice. At that point, it had been forked multiple times. And which was fine because they had DMCA ability to take down all of the forks. But how many people get cloned or get pulled those repositories and have local copies of them?
The only thing I have to say, Apple has some of the best comments in code.
Yeah,
and
really,
and by accident they've left it in Profile Manager. They've left it in other of their other products that they have. They've left accidentally comments, and at work at Tenable, every time we start looking at those comments, we just laugh like, this is not secure. We shouldn't be doing this.
Oh no!
But it works. And we look at that code and we're going like, and this is the server product,
Yeah.
I remember.
Thanks for the hint.
I remember many years ago, Paul. We actually talked about some of that, like some of the best comments for some of those things are like, I coded this at 2:00 in the morning and I was drunk. I don't know why it works, but it does. Leave it alone.
Right. Oh, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, so apparently it was the friend of I don't know if it was an employee or a friend of the employee that had friends in the jailbreaking community.
Yep.
That's
Apple employee had friends in the jailbreaking community, was able to acquire code sent to jailbreaking community, and then game over, man. Game over.
That's just asking for a lawsuit.
Yep.
Now, once it is out, it goes to another person. That person shares it to another. That one gives it to another person. And most of the code management or version control systems nowadays have very good logs of who cloned what and when.
Yep. So, they're probably going to figure it out.
I feel very bad for that guy.
Yep.
Apple is going to go at him.
Well, I mean, I do and I don't. That was kind of a dumb move.
Yep. Now, allegedly, this was in 2016, so I don't know how much was actually available for logging in session 2016, but I would suspect
probably
quite a bit,
today.
given the company that it was.
And the thing is that's very low-level code that doesn't change that much. It is code that people try not to touch or mess around with.
Because it breaks things.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Calls were very interesting, like generating their own key sets or fake key sets in some areas. There was some stuff that when we were looking at it, we were going like, this could be abused by somebody malicious, but how do we get to it? No clue. So I bet something will come out of it, and Apple probably is cleaning all of that stuff up right now. Probably they're doing a new code audit.
Yeah, it's cat and mouse game at this point. Yep. So, well, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I've got one last story mentioned real quick. Was the one that was 6 and hidden pixels.
Hidden pickles?
Oh, yeah.
Pickles.
The hidden pickles.
6 and hidden pickles.
Yeah.
You're intimately familiar with hidden pickles.
I am.
Thanksgiving incident. I mean...
wrong color.
Oh, right. You'll have to tell Joff about that after the show.
I don't want to hear about your hidden pickle.
But
I have to
from
thanks, Carlos.
See you, Carlos.
It was good hearing from you. Thank you.
But so Dr. Neil Krawitz, who we've talked about on the show a number of times for some of his amazing work with photo analysis, has been running his photo forensics blog for 6 years and his photo forensics tools for 6 years. And he's got some new tools to talk about some additional image analysis. And me personally, I think some of this image analysis is absolutely fascinating to deal with, quote, fake news and just any images that you may come across. I'm waiting for Dr. Krawitz to come up with some video analysis, and certainly coming out of some of the recent Reddit threads, and I can't remember the type of stuff that it was called, but and I think we mentioned on the show, and it all comes back to porn, right? That there were some new techniques that Reddit shut down this entire thread.
What was it called? There was a name for it.
Yeah, there's a name for it, where they take actor and actresses' faces and they effectively like rotoscope them onto existing porn movies, so you can have your favorite actor or actress in their own porn movie when it really wasn't them.
What was that called? There was a name for that too.
Something fakes.
Yeah, something fakes.
I'm playing. Yeah, I'm playing coy here, right? Yeah, something fakes. Yeah, I mean,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I legit can't remember what they called it, but yeah.
I can't. I just watched too many of them. I mean, deep fakes.
Thank you, deep fakes. It was in fact called deep fakes.
Thank you from the production crew in back. You know what they're doing with their weekdays? I gotta get their daily somewhere, right?
They got their screens in front of them.
Yep.
Anyway,
they do.
That's where Never mind.
Never mind.
Nice.
Hey, with that, thank you for listening and watching this edition of Paul Security Weekly. Larry, take us out.
Joff.
Oh, over and out.